Hey everyone, today I'm going to go over different arrow sizes and how to select the best one for your setup. If you haven't watched it already, go back and watch part 1. That's going to tell you what size of arrow or spine you need for your setup. After that, it's going to be what size of arrow do you want. So there's 6mm, 5mm, and 4mm. Those are the most common for hunting. This is a 6mm. It's probably one of the more common ones, especially when I was starting out in archery. The 6mm are the biggest, then the 4mm is going to be the smallest. This is just a gold tip hunter. Had really great luck with this arrow, and I would say the biggest thing about the 6mm is it's probably going to be the easiest to tune, and sometimes you can get the best value in these arrows. All of them are going to come in different straightnesses, so you don't have to worry about that. You can always select what straightness you want in any of them. But if you go to the 5mm, you're probably going to get some of the best components. So if you're looking for the most durable arrow that you can possibly build, a 5mm is going to have some of the best components. So that's probably one of the best things about the 5mm. The 4mm is the smallest, and it's going to have the least amount of wind drift. So if you're going to be shooting a longer range or in windy conditions, the 4mm is going to catch the least amount of wind versus the other two. And you're going to just have to kind of shoot it to see what that wind drift is, and obviously the fletching and what you put on it's going to make a little bit of difference there as well. One thing about the 4mm, they're becoming more popular, and they are coming out with better components, but some of the components just aren't as great as the 5mm that are out there right now. So which one should you choose for your setup? If you're somebody that's just getting into fletching arrows and you're looking for something that's the easiest, a 6mm is going to be the easiest to fletch. You can still get good components for it, but it is a pretty thick arrow, and if you're looking for the most penetration, it might get you the least amount of penetration of all of them. The 5mm is right in between. Got really good components, so you can get a durable arrow. Still pretty easy to fletch, and also going to have a little less wind drift. You can still get a little bit better penetration with the 5mm. The 4mm is going to take a little bit more setup to get your fletching right. You can get some pretty good components, but some of the arrows just aren't quite as durable as a 5mm with good components. But with the 4mm, you're going to get a little bit more penetration, and then also a little less wind drift. Personally, I really like the 4mm. I just feel like the penetration, and then also being able to do a little bit more setups for longer range. For me, this is a really good arrow. If you're looking to just shoot short distances, this 6mm arrow is going to work fine for you. I've shot plenty of whitetails with them and plenty of animals with a 6mm shaft. It's going to do the job, but if you're looking for the most penetration, the 4mm is going to be the best. But if you're looking for a good middle in-between arrow, the 5mm is a really good option, and I feel like it's probably a little more common for everybody. That setup's just really good with a 5mm compared to the 4mm right now. I feel like there will be a lot better components getting made for the 4mm, and they're becoming more popular, but right now the 5mm is a really just good all-around hunting shaft. I highly recommend it to a lot of people. If you are somebody that's wanting the most penetration and the least amount of wind drift, and you're trying to get the most accuracy out of your setup, I would go with a 4mm arrow. There's several different options out there, so you can find really good components, and for most people, unless if you are trying to hit the shoulder blade, these will do the job really, really well. So why does a 4mm get more penetration than a 6mm arrow or a thicker shaft arrow? So if you look here, you can see that the arrow is actually smaller than what the insert is. So when you put your broadhead in here, it's going to cut a bigger hole than what your arrow shaft is. So your arrow shaft is going to provide less friction when it hits that animal and going through. So that's kind of why I like the 4mm. I like to be able to get as much penetration as possible, but at the same time be really accurate. So I hope that helps on just explaining the different sizes of arrows. This is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. The next one I'm going to show you the shaft that I select or the shafts that I'm in between, and how I actually build the arrows themselves. As always, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and stay hidden.